The Resistant games are some of my favorite first-person shooters of this generation, simply because of the fun gameplay and the creative style weapons. There's no denying Insomniac Games have put nothing but love and attention into this series. But now Nihilistic has taken over and they've developed Resistance Burning Skies for the PlayStation Vita. In a way, it's blazing trails because it's the first portable dual analog stick first-person shooter, but unfortunately, it lacks some of the quality we love from the series. The story takes place in 1951 and you play as Tom Riley, who's a firefighter. Now the nasty chimeras from the previous Resistance games are invading the world, so Tom has the unfortunate job of stopping the invasion and along the way saving his wife and daughter. The story is pretty generic and the character development is pretty much non-existent, and that's sad. I mean, Tom has absolutely no personality. Now, as I mentioned, this is the first portable first-person shooter which features dual analog stick controls, and it's awesome and it works really well. Tom's movement is very fluid and it doesn't take time to get used to the controls, especially if you've played any of the other Resistance games. Aiming and shooting feels great and it's very responsive. Now, since this is a relatively early PlayStation Vita title, it does feature touchscreen controls, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. This hinders the flow of the gunplay. To use the secondary fire on these weapons, you have to touch on the touchscreen where you want the secondary shot to be fired. And when you do this, it's kind of blocking your view. The same thing goes for when you want to use your melee attack. You have to touch on the touchscreen in the designated spot, and that kind of gets in the way as well. It would have been nice if you had the option to turn these touchscreen controls on and off, because with the touchscreen controls, it kind of messes up the flow of the game. The weapons seem to be the staple of the series, and in this game the weapons are basically the same that you've played and used previously in the other Resistance games. But the cool thing is that there's this nice little upgrade system, so if you find these blue blocks hidden around the environments, you can upgrade your weapons. The visual presentation in Burning Skies could have used a little bit more work. The environments and enemy character models just look generic and just plain dull. But thankfully, some of these cutscenes definitely saved it, because these cutscenes have this comic book art style that's just so impressive. It looks great on the OLED screen. The sound effects and voice acting are highlights of this game. This game is fully voice acted and it's awesome because you will hear some genuine New York and New England accents. The single player campaign is a little on the short side, but there are more challenging difficulty levels that you can replay. And there's also some documents scattered throughout the environment. So just like in all the other Resistance series, if you're into the story, you can definitely pick these documents up and gain a better insight on what's going on throughout the story. Online multiplayer is supposed to be the big feature in Burning Skies. Up to 8 players can play on a few small bite-sized maps, and there are 3 modes. I mean, you have deathmatch, team deathmatch, and survival, which is basically like last man standing. Now, there's nothing special about this online multiplayer. It's a lot of fun to play, but it's very basic at best. So overall, I think Resistance Burning Skies deserves a lot of credit for being the first portable first-person shooter with dual analog stick controls. It's a good shooter with functional controls. It plays well, but there's nothing really special to it. But the thing that bothers me the most about this game is the fact that you have to use the touchscreen controls and it takes away from the gameplay. And I guess that's to be expected since this is being released so early in the Vita's life cycle. But I mean, geez, not every game has to actually use all of the functionalities of the new handheld. So if you're looking for a first-person shooter to play on the go with some really slick controls, I mean, it has those dual analog sticks, and you just want to shoot things up and, have fun along the way, this is probably the game for you. I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll check you next time.